Stu here. This video we're going to look at unseizing a pivot tube. The Yamaha 54-stroke we've been working on, we've taken the powerhead off, gearbox leg, we've sort of stripped it down just to the upper leg and the bracket. So today we're going to disassemble the bracket and see if we can just flush the grease, that corrosion, see what's inside there essentially. It's mostly going to be a cleaning job. Then put it back together and hopefully we'll have a good working steering pivot tube. So let's get to it. I'm going to start by removing these lower mount covers. These hook on the front, there's a single screw at the back, but there are springs, two springs that go through the mount that press against here, so just be careful as it comes loose that you don't lose the cover or, you know, have it fall. Keep a hold of it, there we go. And just set those aside, one on each side. Inside here we've got the mount housing, and then the mount inside here. This is very heavily corroded. A few bits of shell as well. It's obviously been left lowered for quite long periods of time. So I'm going to take these two fasteners off. They look to be about a 12 mil or something. So now those two bolts are out, I'm just going to prise this a bit from the front here. Get that cover off without losing my springs. You'll see on these little springs they're locked in from the inside. There's just a little tag that goes into the groove here. So just keep an eye on those. Set those aside. A lot of corrosion on this nut. Hopefully we'll get that off without too much trouble. Little barnacles in here. So I'm just going to spin this round and take the other side off first. And sorry, just a reminder of why we're doing this job at all. This leg just can't move at all. The steering's completely seized on it. So that's what we're aiming for here. Watch out for our little ground lead. and same as before, we'll just prise from the front here. Now, I might take this I was thinking I might just take this ground lead off from this grease nipple here, but I might actually just leave it. I'll put these screws, springs somewhere safe. I'll need to clean up first anyway. So I'm feeling that once upon a time this was a 14. The amount it's actually rusted, it's making it hard to get a 14 onto there, and certainly to get any sort of grip. So I think this one might give us a very hard time. The other side's probably a 17. So I'm going to put a 17 impact on here. Let's just have a look how. Actually, this one's not too hard, which is nice. So just the dome nut and the washer from here, which is stainless, which is nice. Not so much luck at this end. Look, this is free anyway with that nut off. I do want to get all this out because I want to repair it all. But I'm thinking what I might do is just take the dome nut off the other side, take the upper unit, the upper leg off the bracket, because this is really what we're after, and then we can just work on this on the bench later on. So I'll take the other nut off, then we'll do the upper mount, and we'll just move this away and we'll work on that on the bench later. So inside here we've got a couple of 14mm bolt heads, and then back here we've got some 12s. So I'm just going to undo these. Alright, just pop that aside for a second. Actually, I probably could get a gear wrench in this end, which would make it a bit quicker, but I think we're there now anyway. Alright. So now we're going to wrestle this upper leg off, hopefully, without it fighting us too much. Oh, there we go. It's about now I remember that I didn't take that ground lead off, so let's just take it off from the grease nipple end, or the zirk fitting if you're American. Looks like about an 8 or a 10mm. Okay. Okay, so we got this. This is free. Now these mounts are free. They can drop, so just be careful with these mounts. On there. Okay, so we're getting close. Put that little grease nipple just in parts tray, I think, so I don't lose that one. So although this outboard is it's pivoting alright, the tilt tube seems okay. I'm actually going to eventually take this out while I'm here, just clean it, degrease it, put fresh grease in. We've come this far, we may as well sort of do it properly. But I'm going to do that second because I want to work on the pivot tube, the steering, whilst it's still intact on the stand. So the bottom of this has a circlip that holds this tube in. I'm just going to see if we can get a look at that, see if I can show you. So this circlip's pretty much not even there. The whole bottom half's missing, a lot of corrosion. I think I'm going to just chip away at this with a little chisel or something, break it off. And I might even end up having to grind the bottom of this tube off so that we can push it through. It's not hard to see why this steering doesn't work, but hopefully we can bring it back to life. So, remember before when I said I was going to do this tube second? I'm actually going to do it first now. I think this one's such a mess, and because it's the underneath mostly, I think I'm actually going to take this apart so we can work on this on the bench, and that'll be able to allow me to get you a better view as well. So, just undo these nuts. I'll get a shifter for that, I think. Just got a little cover here. Too bad. I do actually have a, this is a 32mm nut. I do actually have a 32mm socket, but it was just a bit too shallow to start, but now we've got it on a bit, I might just swap to the socket. So it's my hope that with this much grease and the fact that it's still tilting alright, we're not going to have as much trouble getting this tube out as we did the pins on the power tilt trim. Time will tell. Let's have a little look. I'll just get this plastic mallet. We'll just put this nut on the end. So it's almost flush. So, now I'm going to do a bit of work on just prising these brackets off this tube. Despite pivoting easily, it's certainly still pretty stuck. So this is just a squirt bottle with a bit of kerosene in it. Kerosene's cheap and pretty good at helping unseize and clean up stuck parts. So as always, the trick to getting stuck parts separated is grease, bit of impact, bit of heat potentially, but the main point also is just don't cause any extra damage that you have to fix now that you didn't have to deal with in the first place. So steady she goes. Patience, I guess, is the prime thing, which looks like we're going to need lots of. So I'm going to leave both these nuts on the threads while we're hammering and prying away here. I think we'll just keep trying to hammer in multiple directions until we get some movement out of it. So the outboard mount itself seems quite free, which I guess you'd expect because that is the part that moves, and this part that doesn't move, it seems to be quite seized onto the tube. So at least if we do any heating, we'll just need to do it across these knuckles here where the bolt goes through. But so given that, no amount of prying is really going to help us unless we pry against the far side. I think we might just keep hammering this pin for a while. So the other thing I find really helps when you're working with parts that are seized like this is just to go and get a beer. Some might not agree it's the best technique, but I find it helps. Cheers. Definitely getting some shifting, so that's a good sign. Might have actually paid me as well just to put some bolts in and clamp this onto the outboard stand, but it's probably a bit late for that. Let's just keep hammering. See, it's even light beer. That's OH&S guidelines, I think. So I'm going to try heating this a little bit. This side's already lost a lot of its paint, so I'm going to try heating this side first and just see if we can knock this one over. This one's also got the trim tilt sensor in it, which is actually broken on this anyway, so I'll remove it afterwards. I'm not worried about it. Otherwise I'd probably remove that first before I play with it so it doesn't get broken, but it's not in good shape. Okay, so this torch is a little oxy-MAP torch. So MAP's just a flammable gas. It's actually a bit of a mixture. Is a sort of lower temperature replacement for acetylene. So I've also charged up the air compressor. I'm just going to go at blowing away any of the excess kerosene that was around here before I start heating. Okay, so I find with these torches, you just get the flame down quite low on the map until the flame's sort of touching the tip, and then bring the oxygen on. Seems to have more luck. Otherwise it's very easy to blow the flame out. So MAP's not that hot a gas. But, so we're not looking at cutting here. We do have nylon bushings in here. Once I've got this apart, I'm pretty much going to replace everything, so I'm not too worried about melting or damaging those either. So when you're heating these two, try and heat one point a lot. You don't really want to spread heat through the whole thing, you just won't get there. But if you can get one section to expand, it can be enough just to crack it off. So I've been attacking this side because I could use a bit of heat because the paint was gone there anyway. But this side actually seems looser, so I'm going to focus on this side now. So I'm going to take this grease nipple off so we can get this other little earth lead off. Because we can always slide the whole pin out. So I'm going to go here with the grease nipple, take that off and try and get this side off. Okay. Just keep hammering. Oops. Stick this one with the iron. That goes off. Alright, that's one side off. There's a thin stainless washer in here. Put that together. so one step closer. These are the little nylon bushings that are in the pivot tube, the tilt tube, sorry. Nylon on the inside here as well, and a fair amount of grease, which is good. So let's get this onto the bench and clean up a little bit, and then we'll start attacking this end and see if we can get this apart. Given that was tricky and it was the bit that was greased and moving freely, I think gives us a clue as to how tough this one's going to be, but we'll get there. So this is the area we need to get off. We need to get the circlip off, and then we need to push the pin down this way. A lot of corrosion there, so I think we're going to have a lot of trouble. But it's a little bit hard to see what's going on here with all this corrosion, so I'm just going to go and put this on the wire wheel, clean it up, so we can see what we're sort of up against. I think there's every chance this circlip's going to come off once you put this on the wire wheel, so I'm going to pop some safety glasses on for sure, clean this up. So I'll go on back on the wire wheel, pop back, and I'll show you what it looks like. So the circlip didn't budge, but this is what we're up against. Oh, here we go. There wasn't much left of that. I might actually just quickly put this on the wheel again. The next step in the procedure is actually just to tap this lower bracket, the yoke off. But I'll clean this up a bit more before we even attempt that. I don't like our chances of getting this off intact, to be honest with you. I think this is swollen so much it extends beyond the edge of the yoke. We're trying to get over it, but I'll just... Got a feeling our only chance to salvage this is going to be to grind this back. We'll probably sacrifice the steering arm, obviously, because we grounded it off, and maybe this yoke, a bit of damage. But if it means we can save the rest, then I still think we're in good shape. I actually don't have a price on the yoke or the steering arm, so we'll see. But given it was a salvage outboard, doesn't owe me anything yet, so if we can get it going for a few $100, I think that's a bit of a win. So I'm going to try and tap this off a few more times, but I don't think that's going anywhere. At the risk of giving up a bit too early, I think I am going to grind this. Having seen many seized parts before, I just don't think there's any saving this. So I'm going to grind this flange off where it's sort of mushroomed out beyond here. Hopefully then tap the yoke off, and then we'll see if we can still get this steering arm up through the tube. Alright, I'll do this, I'll be back. I'm just going to use a little angle grinder to do this, and maybe finish it up on a wheel, but we'll see. It's not really the best place to do this, but I'm hoping to sort of show you the process a bit. Actually, you know, this is a cutting wheel on here still. I'm going to swap this cutting wheel out for a grinding wheel. Alright, let's try again. now it's pretty much ground flush. Now I'm just going to hit this, see if we can get this off. I think we've written off the yoke and the steering arm, but not worried about that given the state it was in. I think it was pretty unsalvageable. So, which also means I'm not too worried about hitting it pretty hard with a metal hammer, because it's all going anyway. Let's just see if we can get it off. Hasn't moved a millimetre. Alright. I'm going to cut the yoke off, hopefully without damaging this bracket, because I think it's the only bit that's salvageable. If when we do that, we'll see the end of this steering arm. If we can't knock that through, then I think we're going to have to write this bit off, which is a bit of a shame, not just because of the money, but it's always nice to repair something than just replace it. Replacing it always feels a bit, you know, yeah, you got the motor working, but it always feels a bit of a waste, I guess. But look, if we can't get it going, can't get it going. So I'm going to swap that grinding disc for a cutting disc again, back, and try and get a cut along here, and then just try and pry it off the pivot arm. Sorry, the steering arm. And then when that's out, I'm going to see if we can hammer the steering arm up through. Given how seized it is, not much chances. But look, we can soak it overnight, give it a few days even in some degreaser, and just see if that helps. But I actually think this is more a corrosion than a grease issue. So anyway, let's not give up yet. Let's do the cut and see how we go. So the procedure in the workshop manual for taking this yoke off is to lightly tap it with a plastic hammer. Step one. It's always nice to read it, not so easy to do it. Even the destructive approach is failing us today. Alright, I'm going to get a, because I'm actually starting to nick this bracket a little bit, I'm actually going to do the last bit with a drill bit. Just drill a few holes in it. See if we get there that way. Just using a drill bit about the same width as the cut that's already started. So I managed to cut through this and separate it a bit, which has snapped this half, which is good. We're getting there. You can see the amount of corrosion in here, it's no wonder this wasn't going anywhere. But you can also see along here it's slightly separated the teeth from the yoke, so I'm thinking this will come off pretty easily. Still not holding a huge amount of hope for getting the steering arm out, but I'll knock this half off too. We'll see what we see. Alright. So, bin this. So I'm just putting a bit of penetrating oil where the old grease nipple was here. Gotta say,
I really don't see this coming apart. Also, just while we're here, see this nylon bush where the top of the trim tilt is completely gone as well, so they'll definitely need replacing. Well, we had a shot. It's a bit disappointing, I guess, that we didn't get this one apart, because as well as being able to fix this outboard more cheaply, I was particularly interested in doing this video so we could show the parts of the steering tube and how you could go about repairing one. Perhaps it was a bit stiff but wasn't necessarily entirely seized. But that's okay. When we get the replacement one, I'm going to do another sort of assembly video, I guess it'll be, but in the process of doing that assembly video I'll go through the parts of that steering arm, where the bush is located, how the grease works. Hey mate, how are you? Sorry, phone rang then. So when I get the new part, I'll use that part as a demonstration of some of the techniques I was looking at for fixing this. We'll definitely take it apart, show you where the bushes are, the nylon bushes are, so you know where maybe you could apply heat if you needed to without damaging those. But what this shows really is that a bit of prevention is so much better. You know, had this been a bit of anti-seize on the splines for the yoke, grease more regularly to push the old grease out, bit of grease externally, it'd probably still be working fine. There's no reason for a part like this to fail other than lack of maintenance, really. So we're going to leave this video here, but we'll definitely revisit this part when I can source a replacement, and then we'll start putting this whole outboard back together. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I probably didn't learn so much this time, sorry. Yeah, a bit snookered. But hopefully when we get back together on this part, there'll be a bit more to learn from that one. Alright, so thanks again, and subscribe. I'd love to have you join me on more future videos, and I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.